Welcome to this week's edition of the Dakota Angler 2-Minute Fishing Report. Well, in some areas, especially down the southeastern part of the state, conditions have gotten a little bit better. We've lost quite a bit of snow around the area, and that has allowed a few anglers to get out, especially like Lake Vermilion. A lot of people have been going out there and catching some nice fish. But really, the state of the ice conditions all across eastern South Dakota pretty much remain unchanged. I mean, we have a lot of ice out there, anywhere from 15 to 30, 32 inches of ice, with the thicker part, obviously up in the northern part of the state. If you go up in the northeastern part of the state, if you don't have a snowmobile or a SnoBear or a vehicle with tracks, you're not going to get around too easily, so keep that in mind. But again, this time of year, you know, the fish are starting to put on the feed bag as they prepare for spawning. And we're seeing that in some areas of eastern South Dakota with some of the perch bite. But again, hopefully this next week with a little bit more stable weather, a little bit warmer weather conditions, you know, here and there. It's not been real consistent. Maybe conditions will improve that much more. As far as the reports are concerned around the area, they are few and far between. The lakes that produced a few walleyes up in the northeastern part of the state include Dry Lake by Clark, Indian Springs, Opitz, Bitter, and Goose, and I emphasize a few walleyes being caught there. And then also Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Thompson, 81 Ponds, Vermilion, and then also Twin. And remember, Twin is the trophy lake. Now, what have you guys been doing to catch walleyes, you know, in the area lakes? A lot of rip and wraps right now being used by some of those that are catching the walleyes. Other people are using the Z-Man microplastics. This is the micro TRD, and all they're doing, hopefully you can see that, all they're doing is wacky rigging. In other words, they're putting the jig halfway onto this, in the middle of the plastic, and then as they jig it, both ends will move up and down. And they will also put that on the bottom, and the walleye will pick it right up off the bottom. So a little bit larger plastic than what you typically would see for ice fishing, but this time of year, it would work perfectly. And a lot of guys have had a lot of luck using these types of plastics. Now, other news is that the Big Sioux is producing walleyes around the area, especially Sioux Falls South. And all they're doing is using jigs and minnows. And then also the Missouri River is opening up quite rapidly, to say the least. And a lot of people are having some decent luck from shore as well as from boats. And really, all they're doing is using jigs and minnows, or also the hair jig, whether or not you're talking about the bucktail, the hot skirt, or even the moontail jig, have all been working great on the Missouri River right now. As far as the perch bite around the area, again, hit and miss depending on the area. Big Stone has probably had the most consistent bite, but again, getting around has been a little bit difficult. Dry Lake by Clark and also by Willow Lake have been doing quite well. And then Stink, Thompson, 81 Ponds, and Vermilion all have been producing perch. Now the crappie bite continues up at Thompson as well. If you're looking for crappie and bluegill, head down to the Great Lakes in northwest Iowa. You got a nice bite going on down there. In this week's edition of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about boat organization, because obviously this time of the year, a lot of people have put their ice fishing gear away and now are looking at the boat and dreaming about open water season, and hopefully we'll see it by the 4th of July, if you know what I mean. But a lot of people struggle with organizing your boat. And, you know, with all the jigs, the plastics, the crankbaits that we have, a lot of times they're just thrown all over the boat or thrown in plain plastic cases, which is nothing wrong with them, but usually they're disorganized. They're in different parts of the boat, and it's hard to figure out where that particular crankbait or jig actually is. Well, there's something new on the market, and we are proud to be a dealer. This is made by Heavy Hauler. This is called the Gearbox, and some of you might have seen it at the Sportsman Show. But it fits underneath your seat or on the pedestal. It comes in 2 different sizes. And this one here is the larger size, but it will fit underneath your seat. And I'll show you a close-up picture on here as well. You know, there's 2, like I said, there's the small and the medium size. And the nice thing about these is that, again, they will fit underneath your seat. And then you can utilize your existing Plano boxes that you already have. They are sold in 2 different varieties. In other words, not only the 2 different sizes, but they come with Plano boxes or without. So if you already have a lot of 3600s or 3700s, you can use this case to organize those Plano boxes. So again, they will fit underneath your seat and out of the way. You don't need to worry about anything else. They're easily accessible. And then also, if you don't have the Plano boxes, we will sell them for you as well, sell them to you at a special price to add that on to the feature of the Gearbox. So again, if you've never seen this before, stop on by. If you're like me, you all struggle with organizing your boat, and now's the time to do that. So stop on by, get the Gearbox right here, and utilize your existing Plano boxes, or check us out and we'll set you up with what you need for the 3600s or the 3700s. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to Todd at DakotaAngler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. And before we end this week's report, I want to remind you to stop on by here at the store. You can see we have all kinds of open water inventory. And if you stopped by last week, guess what, folks? The show floor looks totally different this week. So make sure you stop on by, check out what's new for the upcoming open water season. And if you can't make it to the store, feel free to give us a call at 605-336-9132 or check us out on the web at DakotaAngler.com. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report for Dakota Angler. I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! Thanks for watching, folks. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.